Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Wendy, and welcome to my soul shelf. And today we have a very special guest. She is an indie author who recently just released Crescent and the Crown, Millie Moss. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
So I just want to say thank you for being here and thank you so much for your time. And I know you have a busy schedule. So we're just going to get the ball rolling. We want to know more about you and what you're going to bring to us in the future. So I want to ask, what inspired you to write Crescent and the Crown?
So, like nothing and everything, kind of. Um, I've written since I was a little girl, like
Oh,
since I
wow.
knew how to write. I was really big on
Wow.
writing stories. And then as I got older, I have like therapy writing stories. And
Okay.
I wrote a little story in a therapy notebook. And I'm like, it would be cool if this was a romantasy. And then it just kind of started going and had a life of its own.
That is so cool. At that age, I wasn't even thinking about writing. I was just playing with Barbie dolls. So that's pretty awesome. So, as I want to say, as an indie author, were there any personal experiences or like emotions or anything out of the ordinary that shaped the story? Like, how did it come together?
So the healing arc of it,
Mm-hmm.
first chapters, that's all based off my life and my experiences
Mm-hmm.
in a symbolic way. But just in lots of parts, I like to put a little bit of something that I know is real in a lot of the aspects to like keep the story believable, even though it's like a fantasy.
That is awesome. And I love how you did the duo POV from Luke to Ivy. I really appreciated that because sometimes we usually get like a book of one POV and then we have to wait like years sometimes to get another book that's like the dude's POV or
Yeah.
somebody else's POV. Can you talk me through like the writing routine that you had while writing this?
So I am very scatterbrained and my head's chaos and I don't know how to do routines.
Oh, okay.
So everything's always different.
Mm-hmm.
I just try like with the dual point of view. Ivy is kind of like my past and who I want to be. And I've got a lot of Luke's mind too. So I just kind of go to that part of my brain
That is
and
pretty
just kind of
interesting.
let the characters take it away.
Wow. I didn't even think about it that way. I kind of I was always interested on how that POV works out in an author's mind, but I didn't even think about like how you compartmentalize both POVs as your own thoughts and personalities into two different people. That's actually interesting.
It's fun. It's very fun. I don't know everybody's other authors, but that's how I do it. And it's really fun to like think with different parts of your brain and I like it.
I kind of like it too now that I'm listening to you. I'm liking it. And what were the moments during your writing where the story surprised you even?
So there's Thor. Thor really wasn't supposed to be in the first book.
Mhm.
And I started writing him his introductory chapter. And I was like, oh, he needs to be in this more. And that was never a part of the plan. The most surprising was the command tent chapter. That was not planned at all.
I
I,
loved you for it though.
I wrote it and like, I was like, you know what they would do here? So I just like wrote it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it there. And I
I'm
did.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you kept it because I was literally laughing so hard at that I was shaking. This was like at almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had the bed shaking because I was laughing. I was like kiki ka 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 like, and my husband turns to me and he's like, "What in God's green earth are you reading?" And I'm like, listen. And then I explained it to him because he's not a reader. And he's like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is funny. Oh my goodness. But I love that. I love the fact that you kept Thor because he's just one of those characters that I kind of like throughout the book. He's
Yeah.
just his little snarky remarks, his little flirtatious way of being is like can we talk about characters and themes now? So
Okay.
I want to talk about how Ivy was she was a character for me that I can relate to and her journey. And I felt that I connected with her in a way because when you wrote the scars weren't a symbol of what had been taken from me. They are proof of everything I'd survived and everything I wasn't done becoming. I connected with that so much because I mean, I can write a book or an autobiography about my life and people will not believe me. But I felt like I connected with her and her story and her challenges throughout the book. I think everybody can feel like they've overcome something in their life that made them stronger and made them realize, hey, like I can do this. I can do this thing called life. So I wanted to ask, which character do you relate to the most and why?
So Ivy's definitely a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Like her past is very me. Who she's becoming, her journey is kind of how I would like to be. I'm not there, and I don't know if anybody in a healing journey ever gets completely healed,
Mm-hmm.
but I try, and Ivy tries. As far as like my surface personality and not my feelings and how I think, but just how I'm perceived is Clea. I am exactly Clea.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, when he read it, he's like, "You wrote yourself into the story?"
That's actually interesting. And also, are there any hidden themes or messages in the book that you hope readers can take away?
My biggest thing, if I could pick one, is not to listen to people when they tell you your worth, like even if it sounds like they're right. Like Ivy has that where people told her things and she started to believe it, but there was that little voice that was like, no, that's wrong. Like I think a lot of people should listen to that voice and see where it takes them, if that makes sense.
Nope, that makes perfect sense. I agree
Thanks.
with you. I think that for a lot of people, childhood, since I'm raising my son now, he's 3, I'm realizing that what I tell him can become his inner voice. And I think
Yeah.
that as we grow up, things that are told to us in our childhood, it shapes us. And I didn't realize that until I became a mom that, hey, like, whatever I say to my child is what will manifest. And
Yeah.
obviously, I always give him, words of encouragement. I always tell him, you can do it. Like, whenever he looks at me like, Mom, I need help. Like, his little words are, I need help. I'm
Oh,
like, you know
cute.
what? I know he's so cute, but he's like a little sour patch. He's he's sweet and then he's sour. But I'm realizing what you're saying is very true, and you are totally completely right about that. Honestly, that's probably why I connected with Ivy a lot. Okay, so how did you approach creating complex or morally ambiguous characters?
Complex characters, I my go-to is to like just put everything out on my brain
Mm.
onto the paper, and that makes them almost too complex. But with morally ambiguous, I love writing those characters, and I didn't get to show it that much with Luke in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Book 2 goes more into that, but it's so fun because you get to like think, what would I do if there were no consequences? Like, because you can think that in first person especially, you kind of just write that dark little quiet part of your brain that makes
Mm-hmm.
those choices, and kind of fun because nobody gets hurt, and
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't do it in real life, but it's always fun. I love doing that, and I get to do it more in the second book, so that's exciting.
Yay! So we get to see a little bit more glimpses of Luke. I actually enjoyed how you put Luke as not like yeah, he can be morally gray, but I felt that he wasn't really a character that was bad, so to speak. He was
Yeah.
just like, okay, I was shocked at the way hell was made in your book, because a lot of the times people are like, yeah, you're going to hell and you're just going to stay there and die in the lake of fire.
Yeah.
And you just made it into kind of like, no, there's levels to it. You can get your way out of there. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think about that. What if that, obviously none of us have left to the afterlife. If not, we wouldn't be here to tell the story. But but I was like, whoa, I didn't even, what if that's what we we come across when we die, like, in the afterlife, so to speak. And I also loved how, I don't know if this was an idea that you had, but basically related Michael into Archangel Michael, but
That's what I'm,
you can correct me
yeah,
if
that's
I'm
what I
wrong.
was going for.
Okay. So
Yeah.
okay. Whew. Because I was like, wait, is this Archangel Michael or am I tripping? But but I was like, man, like you created, celestial beings. You had a little bit of Greek mythology. You had Persephone, you have Hades, how did you mix all these things together? Because I didn't even think about putting them in the same room.
It's kind of just my brain works with relating very strange things together. And like, I've always thought a lot about afterlives because, like, I've been told I was going to hell. Like, a lot of people have told me that for reasons that I don't necessarily believe you would.
Right.
And I was just thinking of what a hell could be like. Like, in mine, there's still like the eternal torment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, even as souls, you can grow.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's more to it than that. And then, I don't know, I just thought everybody believes different things. So their afterlife would have to be different. So it's just kind of where I went and just let my brain go with it.
Yeah, I actually liked how you blended everything together and kind of made it into this own little world and your world building. I don't know, I found it interesting to me how it blended not only a little bit of modernness, if I can say, to an afterlife world. In the story, when Ivy gets her own little room and she's told, yeah, there's a phone there just in case if you're wondering what that is. I thought that was funny. And I'm like, she's never well, and then I had to remember, I'm like, wait, she's never seen a phone because she's a fae and she's not of this world, so she might not know what a phone is. But yeah, I enjoyed it, I loved it, and I loved how your brain works to blend everything together. I wanted to ask, were there any scenes or moments in the story that were particularly challenging for you to write?
There were like the hard parts emotionally that come from my own experience or my own thoughts. Those were cathartic, but at the same time, they're challenging because in the beginning, it's just I'm the only person that's going to read it. But then when I got to the point where I'm like, I think I want to publish it, and I'm going over for the next draft, it was kind of hard thinking of people reading something so real about you. So that was challenging. Oddly, the most challenging thing were the spice scenes, which I did not see coming, because it's fun. And then you have to do like grammar and like logistics, like, because there's height differences and there's different settings. And by the time mine were done, they didn't feel steamy to me anymore. So I went to my husband and I'm like, will you read these scenes? And I had actually made it too spicy.
Oh.
He was like, whoa. And I'm like, okay, I'll go back.
Well, a lot of
Redo
readers
that.
don't mind, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like I wanted a middle ground. And so that was my middle ground. I don't know if it was too or too less. It's my husband. He signed off on it. So if people don't like the spice scenes,
we're going to blame your
the
husband.
level.
I'll be the first to sign up and say it was your husband's fault. But I actually enjoyed the slow burn of it because Ivy and Luke, when they first meet each other, it's like, whoa, dude, I like you. I like how you look. I like how you feel. Well, not feel yet, but, emotion wise, it was kind of like, yeah, dude, I'm feeling you. And he's like, I'm feeling her, but I don't know. Let me give you a whiskey to calm that down. But I just felt like their slow burn was good. I mean, were there more scenes that we would like to see? Possibly, but but I think a lot of us readers enjoy that intimacy within the characters. So if you do include more spicy scenes in the next book, we I don't think we would mind at all. Um,
Okay, good to know.
I
Because
don't think
I'm sure there will be.
I don't think we would mind at all. But I did like the development with their relationship. I feel like the dual POV makes it so much better because you're handling, okay, what does Ivy think of this guy, and then what does Luke think of this girl? And I think that just, for me, it was just like a marriage. It was like, just marry the two.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are there any Easter eggs, inspirations, or influences in the books that readers might not notice at first?
I did make Edgar Allan Poe and Emily Bronte mortal souls
Ah,
that live there. Did you catch that at all?
okay. I
Because I think dark classic author
uh-huh,
Easter eggs, I
uh-huh.
don't think that's as common as I thought it was because
It's
nobody's
okay.
getting it.
It's
But
okay.
I'm happy it's there. So,
Well, I'll have to reread, but that's okay. We can do a reread because I want to, I like to reread stories sometimes, and I'm like, wait, I didn't catch that. So it's okay if readers like myself or anybody else don't catch your little Easter eggs. But if when we reread, right, we
mhm.
catch little things, kind of like, I don't know if I can say this, but Harry Potter, like there's always something and a theory behind a string theory behind a string theory that we didn't see before. So it's okay if we don't catch it the first time. Just, I just have to reread, and then and then I'll be like,
It's
"Oh, this is
yeah.
what she's talking about." But it is okay if we don't catch it the first time. Did anything like funny or unexpected or chaotic happen while writing or publishing this book?
Not really while writing. It's like everything's kind of been chaotic because
Oh no.
I never imagined it would be something anybody talked about.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, "Oh, I'm just like this random person, and I'm just gonna self-publish this," and then people started reading it and liking it, and it's all like, I love the story personally, but that's because I wrote it and those are my
Absolutely.
characters. I didn't expect other people to respond to it as much as has happened. So it's like I'm still, even now, just processing that this is happening because I've always wanted to publish something and it's still registering.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine. I like to call things that we make our little babies. And I feel like this book for
Yeah,
you, it's like your little baby, and you're
yes,
letting the world see this little baby, and it's a scary world out there. So I
it is.
understand exactly how you feel. If this book had a soundtrack, what or song would you say would be on it?
So I had a ton of different playlists
Uh-oh.
for this. I have like there was one that's like my official one that's the most standout ones. And there's a lot on there. But I the most helpful one was actually Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift.
Ooh.
That got
Okay.
me I would listen to it before my Luke point of view because he's like his own worst enemy and like that
Mm-hmm.
would really get me into his character.
Mm.
And then there's one that I don't even know how it helped me, but All Through the Night by the Riverdale cast.
I might
Like
have to listen
if
to
I
that one.
helps me with like writing emotion, like across the board. I don't know what it is about that song,
Mm-hmm.
but those were probably the two most helpful ones in
Okay.
writing.
I might have to listen to that song. I've never heard of it. Call
Oh,
me,
it's so
call
good.
me, call me ancient, but I never heard of it. But I might listen to it on Spotify and see like where that takes me.
Yeah.
Going into advice and perspective, what advice would you give aspiring writers or people who want to create emotionally resonant stories? What would you advise them?
Um, One thing that I try to remember is that a book, not everybody's going to love a book. There's never been a book in history that's loved 5 stars by everybody. And I think that if that were true, then there wouldn't be so many different genres and types of books. So if somebody doesn't like your story, it's kind of what makes books fun conversation, because everybody takes it different. And some people like nuance and some people like things spelled out. And so I just try to remember that if somebody doesn't like my story, it still sparks a conversation. And that would be my advice, just to try to get in that mindset and not think if somebody doesn't like your story, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. I totally agree. I think I myself personally let go of a lot of like ratings in books sometimes. I myself rate books in my channel, but I also rate them with an emotional scale of how that book made me feel, and also how that book possibly brought something to the table to teach me, to mold me into a better person, or think of things a little bit differently. And I think that once we let go of, oh my gosh, like this book had this rating, but actually read the book and you may find that you can possibly love that book.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that. Also, how do you handle writer's block or self-doubt?
Usually I go to somewhere that like calms my mind with writer's block, and I've only had a like true writer's block a couple times, and I get like dramatic about it, like laughably dramatic.
Oh no.
Like with writing the second book, I got stuck a little bit, and I had my husband drive us out to Derry, New Hampshire, where
Oh wow.
Robert Frost's house is, his old farmhouse, and there's a supposedly haunted doll,
Oh.
and I heckled the doll.
Oh.
And then I went outside and I picked some leaves and then I buried them under the full moon. I have no idea what I was aiming for. I just get so dramatic. And like, I don't know what I did, if I'm now haunted by a doll or I don't even know, but it worked.
Okay.
So I'm glad.
I mean,
But yeah, I get very dramatic
oh.
when I get writer's block.
Oh no. First of all, I've never been to that side of the United States before, but that is pretty awesome that you get to travel there. Two, I've been to haunted places myself, and I'm not, I'm not gonna get too particularly, but I do live in Florida, and I sometimes, well, before I had my son, my husband and I, we were into paranormal a little bit. So we decided to go to the oldest city, or, the oldest town in Florida, which is St. Augustine. And St. Augustine is known to have activity because it's
Ooh.
old. So I don't know if you've ever been to Florida.
I have once. It was for a cruise.
Okay. So
The
if
port,
you
we stayed there a night.
Okay. So if you ever find yourself going to an old city, go to St. Augustine. I mean, it is beautiful.
Okay.
It's awesome. We love Harry's, but that's one of the spots there to eat. We decided to stay at the Hilton there. And I remember we decided to sign ourselves up for a paranormal walkthrough. So they go around the city, they show you there's a college there, Flagler College, and that college is haunted as well. It's very historical, and a lot of old presidents used to dine there, and they give you all the whole spiel. And they go walking with you around, and they teach you history, and obviously they show you the Castillo de San Marcos, and it's a historical landmark where they fought back in the day. But I remember I was the only Spanish speaking person, and with history there was the Spanish
Yeah.
with the Spanish War, and they were using a spirit box, and they wanted me to talk in Spanish and ask them can they see the light, can they see to just basically communicate with these spirits. And I kid you not, they asked me to ask a question in Spanish, and they told me, hey, can you ask the spirits, because I was literally in the Castillo de San Marcos landmark, and they told me, yeah, can you ask the spirits how do they feel. And I kid you not, the what the device that they had. I forgot what they call them. Man, it slipped my mind, but it's like a device that channels through different frequencies of like radio channels. And I
Okay.
kid you not, it responded to me in Spanish.
No way.
Yep. It responded to
Oh.
me in Spanish. And I mean, this was so long ago. I mean, my husband and I have been together for 14 years, but this was before we had our baby. But I remember it saying, and I had goosebumps all over my body. And I remember it saying like something back in Spanish. I forgot what they said, but it was just one of those experiences that you just can't explain. you know
Yeah.
but yeah, and they also had an antique shop. The antique shop had a lot of stuff, and I had my hair pulled there. So I very
Ooh.
much, I know. So I very much, I very, I very much think that paranormal is real. But hey, whatever helps writer's block. Okay.
I believe in it. Like, that's how dramatic I'm being. Like, I believe that this could haunt me and I want it because if it's good enough for Robert Frost, it's good enough for me. So, yeah.
That's
Everyday
awesome.
life, I'm not that dramatic. But when
No,
I'm frustrated,
it's okay. I mean, hey, we all find an outlet. What's important is that it's not an outlet that harms other people, you know?
yes.
But I totally agree. I literally I believe in paranormal. I've had experiences since I was a child. So, hey, if it helps your writer's block, do it. Just don't hurt anybody else.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so next question would be, looking back, is there anything you would have done differently with this book?
A lot of things and also nothing. Like, the one thing that probably sticks the most is I think I would have had book 2 come out closer to
Okay.
book 1 because I see how much book 1 needs book 2 now. But then there's like other things like, should I have not had this part in it or should I have added more? And I just go back and forth. And from what I've heard from other indie authors I've met, is that's pretty standard feeling that everybody gets, is regretting everything and nothing. So I think I'm normal there. But yeah, I think I should have released the books closer together.
Okay, and I think that's fair. I think we're all human, first of all. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but when you have a conversation with someone or you have a fight with somebody and then you come back home and then you think about, man, I should have said this and this and that.
Yes.
I feel like that we're all human and we all think like later on at night when we're we're trying to go to bed, man, I should have
Yes,
said this.
exactly.
So I understand you completely, and I think that you will do book 2 justice, and I think that it'll answer a lot of things that maybe book 1 didn't have.
It does. I'm so excited about book 2.
I'm
I'm
excited for you, and I'm not
writing the
even you.
chapters right now and I'm very excited about book 2. I
Awesome.
love book 1 as well, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like a origin story or a really long prologue for the second one.
Okay. I think that's awesome. I think I'm excited for you, and I'm like, ah.
Thanks.
Okay, so looking ahead now, are there future projects you can share with readers of what you're thinking about doing? Any timelines, maybe?
So, my goal on timeline is for the end of this year. It's very ambitious
Okay.
because I'm getting more ideas, and oh, the world is so huge. Like, I want to tell you so many things, but I can't because I don't want to do spoilers.
No, no, no.
But what I have in book 1 is just like tiny, tiny bit of this universe in my head that I just want to share so bad with everybody. I love it so much.
Yay.
So yeah, the universe gets a lot bigger
Okay.
and there's a lot more Thor.
Yay.
There's the mind games like are hard to write. I
Okay.
feel like I should apologize to my characters. There's some
Oh.
brutal mind games. I don't want to say too much more because I'm afraid that
Spoil
I'll
it.
slip up and say something. But I'm so excited to share these creations and especially my universe. I love my universe and I'm just super excited to share it with everybody. So hopefully the end of this year. If not, I'll like try and update the book with at least something in there, like maybe a first chapter or
Okay, I'm
so hopefully
excited.
fingers crossed, but it's an ambitious goal, so I can't commit to anything
No,
just yet.
understandable. I'm just excited. I'm excited for you.
Yay!
Um,
I'm excited.
and how do you hope your writing evolves over time?
My biggest thing, I want to trust myself more because what I tend to do is write too much.
Okay.
And then I get afraid I'm going off on tangents or over explaining. So I'm like, I'm just not even going to have this in this chapter, or because I don't trust myself to do it justice. And I'd like to
Okay.
trust myself more and get to the point where I can and I take risks like that. But I think that's how I hope it evolves most.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it evolves more. I love your story, like your world building, and
Thank you.
I can't even imagine what you're planning to do with the world building itself because in my mind it's huge. Like when I like when I read, I don't know if anybody else does this, but when I read, I tend to imagine these worlds and then as you're
Yes.
describing them, I'm kind of picturing and mapping it out in my head of where I'm situated. So I always describe this thinking as like, oh, it's a movie. And,
Yes.
a book is a movie. It's a long movie, but it's a movie.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
so
glad that you like my world.
I do. I really do. And so talking about the book and what is coming next, how many pages roughly? I mean, it doesn't have to be exact, but how many pages are you kind of leaning towards for the next book?
Oh, I don't even know. Hmm.
Roughly. It doesn't even have to
I
be an
go back and
exact.
forth.
Okay.
I'm thinking around 400.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
double the length. Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't want it to be too long.
Okay.
It's not going to be too short.
Okay.
Um, yeah, the first is like a very long, like, it looks like I'm a short book writer.
Mhm.
I'm a longer book writer that has to explain herself a lot. So
Gotcha.
one is setting the stage and the origin story of the people, and then two's like getting into the story. So it's definitely going to be longer. I'm going to try not to make it too long, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I literally felt like I inhaled the book. I literally was like, okay, I finished half the book one night. And then the next day, I was like, okay, put my son down. And then I'm like, I finished. I want more. Like, what happens with this lady coming in this picture? Like, what does she mess up?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I don't want to ruin it, but if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But that's my initial thought. I was like, okay, what is this lady gonna stir up now? Like, that was my thought process, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then that's when I immediately like went to your like to look for your socials, and I'm like, I need to know when Millie is gonna release this second book. I need to keep her on my tabs. I was like a little stalker, but but Crescent and the Crown is right now on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. I wanted to ask, when are we expecting for physical copies to hit the shelves? Because sometimes, well, majority of the time, a lot of people don't have access to a Kindle or just simply prefer the paper copies of it.
So it's a little embarrassing.
It's okay.
When I made the cover
Mm-hmm.
of the digital thing and got that, I saved it flat.
Okay.
And it needs to be a different aspect ratio
Mm-hmm.
for hardcover. So I've got to somehow get that in a different aspect ratio
Okay.
because I really like the cover personally. I'd like them to match,
Yeah.
but we'll see. So when I can figure out if somebody can get me a different aspect ratio so it'll look smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as that happens, could be like in a week, could be longer.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But I've been
So
trying, and I'm hoping, because for myself, I would love a hard copy of the book.
same. Same.
Yeah.
I told my husband too. I'm like, listen, I need a copy of this book because I read everything on my Kindle. And I usually get books that are, this is for pure indulgence though. I usually get the hard copies for my shelf that I really like and that resonate with me.
Mhm.
And I'll tell my husband, I'm like, I need to get a paper copy for me and my friend because
Oh.
because I need her to read this book. Yeah, I wanted to ask that because I'm like, oh man, like I saw the Kindle and then I was like, wait, because when I went on Amazon, I was like, let me see if I can order the paper copy. And I'm like, oh wait, she doesn't have a paper copy. So I was just wondering, like, time frame wise, when that would be. If it takes you however long, as long as it's before book, two at least, or before the year
Yeah.
ends, we are good.
I'm hoping it doesn't take that long.
I'm hoping not either, but I'm just giving the universe kind of like a little nudge, like, hey, like, hopefully it works. Hopefully it works for you.
No.
Also, I wanted to ask, what is the one thing you want readers to remember about you and about your work?
I think I just want everybody to remember something. Like, there's no real thing because I want them to remember something that meant something to them. And whatever that is, like, even if they don't even like the story, but there's like that one quote or line or place. And I just hope people remember something,
Okay, yeah.
whatever means something to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Like I quoted before, that one quote, like I was just like,
I love that quote.
me too. I was just like, oh
I'm glad
man.
that stood out.
It stood out to me. I literally took my big fat finger and I highlighted it on my Kindle. And and then I put it on Goodreads and part of my highlights. But I love that quote and I agree with you and I hope that readers can resonate with your work. It resonated with me. I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for answering my questions. Thank you for the opportunity. And I hope we get news soon of your second book.
Well, thank you for having me on here.
I
That's
appreciate it.
really fun, and I feel honored to be part of your channel.
Oh, I feel honored. I feel honored and humbled. But yeah, so okay guys, so I'm going to also be linking Millie's TikTok account below in the description if you guys want to follow her work, and also any other details pertaining to her work so you can follow along. And make sure you grab this book. This book is awesome. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like to continue this content, and I'll see you soon.